Okay, so we have already started the chapter of Visit to Cambridge and we have completed till page number 102. Today I am going to begin from page number 103, that is the last page of the chapter. So this is an interview, kind of like a personal interaction between Firdaus Kanga and Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking cannot speak, but he does use a very advanced form of communication for talking to people. Okay, and Firdaus Kanga was asking him questions, some relevant questions about his life, some related to his profession, some related to his personal life, and we are just getting a glimpse of that. So please open page number 103 of your main textbook. I told him how he had been an inspiration beyond cliche for me, and surely for others. Did that thought help him? Okay, so I told him that he had been inspiration for me, and that inspiration was beyond cliche. That means not something which we hear about every time. Okay, cliche means something that we use most of the time, some phrase or some idea. Means like many cliches are there, like something which is happening or which is being talked about so many times that it becomes boring. Okay, it becomes the same thing, same idea. But you have become an inspiration for me which is beyond the normal, beyond the ordinary. Okay, it's not the inspiration in an ordinary manner, but it's a much more inspiration than the ordinary. That means you have inspired me in so many different ways, and not just me, you must have inspired many other people as well. And did that thought help him? That is the thought that he was able to inspire so many people. Did that help him, or did that give him some sort of satisfaction out of his life? Then Stephen Hawking said no, and I thought how foolish I was to ask. When your body is a claustrophobic room and the walls are growing narrower day by day, it doesn't do much good to know that there are people outside smiling with admiration to see you breathing still. Okay, so look at the beauty of the language Firdaus Kanga is using. He believes that for Stephen Hawking, his existence is like a claustrophobic existence. Claustrophobia is actually a mental disease. Okay, it's a psychiatric disease. The disease is very common in many people. Claustrophobia is like people who have this disease, they can't stay in any kind of enclosed space for a while. Okay, they start to panic. They start having a panic attack. Okay, now I have met one such person in my life, and we were traveling on a elevator in a building together, and that person was suddenly having breathlessness problem even though the elevators are well aerated. Okay, and it was moving in a normal speed, but that person suddenly sat down on the floor of the elevator saying that he couldn't breathe. Okay, so this is a problem which exists in many places, many people. We can overcome that problem, obviously. Counseling and medication helps it. So claustrophobia is something I think all of us has a certain form of claustrophobia. If you go through a tunnel, a very small tunnel, if you go through that, and if you don't know what is on the other side, you will feel a bit claustrophobic. Okay. Nothing happened. The elevator came to the proper floor and we got out, and it was all right. But in that elevated enclosed space, that person was suffering from breathlessness even though there was sufficient air, and that person was having a panic attack, as if thinking that maybe the lift will stop functioning, something like that. Okay, so it is actually a disease. It's not something that is made up. It is actually a disease for some people. And it is really sad for them, because such people, they avoid going in lifts. They like climbing stairs better than going in lifts. They cannot stay in a train compartment for a long time. They become very much anxious. They have an anxiety attack or a panic attack. So any kind of enclosed space gives them a problem. Now the term claustrophobia here has been used in a different manner. It is being said that Stephen Hawking's life his body is like a claustrophobic room and the walls are growing narrower by day. Just imagine, in many English movies you have also seen such people. Yes, you can, if you are in the company of such people, what you can do is, if you see somebody having a panic attack because of claustrophobia, assure them that it's going to be all right and just help them breathe in and out, and it helps. Okay, so then what happened here, it's used in a different sense. Okay, it means that suffocating, something which is very much suffocating for himself. For him, his body is like a claustrophobic room, a place where you feel suffocated, and then walls in the room is getting narrower and narrower. That is, any time the life breath will be squeezed out of you because of the body, because of your body which is rapidly degenerating. So for Stephen Hawking, understanding that even though people are getting smiling, looking at him, getting admired, getting inspired for him, it doesn't change at all. It doesn't help him. It doesn't give him any kind of thing at all. And so he said that no, it doesn't help me. The thought that other people is getting inspired from me, no, it doesn't help me. I'm sorry, because I'm living in a problem, such a problematic existence it is for me, that those kind of thoughts doesn't affect me, because those kind of thoughts, seeing people who are walking around, seeing people who are leading a normal life, smiling at me because I'm alive, that doesn't help me. Okay, so he didn't get any kind of inspiration by seeing that. Okay, is there any advice you can give disabled people, something that might make life better, help make life better? Okay, so is there anything you want to say to people like us? And he says they should concentrate on what they are good at. I think things like the disabled Olympics are a waste of time. Okay, that is called Paralympics. Okay, so he said that they should concentrate at what they are good at. Yes, maybe they are not good at the physical things, physical skills, they are not as good as many other people, but whatever they are good at, maybe one of them, some people might have a talent for singing, some people might have a talent for painting or writing, okay, or being a motivational speaker. Lots of different careers are there for people who cannot walk or people who do have some physical disabilities. So they should concentrate on those skills in which they are good at, rather than trying to excel in what they have a limitation on, like going for the Olympics. Stephen Hawking believes that for people like that, arranging an Olympics for that purpose, because Olympics is it is a place where Olympics is a athletic competition where your physical abilities are being tested, right, judged, and many people who have some physical problems, disabilities, or they are physically not as good as others, maybe some people doesn't have the proper leg function or arm function, even they can compete and they can win against others like them. Okay, but Stephen Hawking believes it's a waste of time, because they are already behind others in the capability of physique, right? In the physical abilities, they are already lagging behind. So why to go for that? Rather go for some skills which they are good at. This is what Stephen Hawking believes. I know what you mean. I remember the years I had spent trying to play a Spanish guitar considerably larger than I was, and how gleefully I had unstringed it one night. Okay, so Firdaus Kanga remembered once he had tried to play a Spanish guitar, but it was quite big, and for him it was not, that means he was not properly able to play it because of its size. Okay, now what happened is that he remembered how he spent many years trying to play the guitar, but he couldn't play it. Okay, let me know when the time is over, because the clock here is not functioning properly. So instead of doing that, he didn't feel good while he was trying to learn the guitar, but then one night when he was trying to, it's 11:05 already. No, class will get over at 11:05, but how many minutes are left? That's what I'm asking. It's 10:57. Okay, good. Okay, good. So there was a lot of time. He tried to play the guitar, but he couldn't play it. And then one night, what did he do? He gleefully unstringed it. Okay, unstring means he just removed all the strings from the guitar. That means out of frustration, he just unstringed the guitar so that it doesn't function properly, and that made him very happy because that was a trick which he couldn't master. Okay, there was a talent which he couldn't master, and the fact that he couldn't master it made him feel very frustrated. And so one day, what did he do? He just cut the strings of the guitar. Understood? Okay. The half hour was up. I think I've annoyed you enough, I said, grinning. Thank you for... So Firdaus Kanga said, I have annoyed you enough, I have disturbed you a lot, I have just asked you so many irritating questions, but the half hour time was over by then, and so he said thank you for, he was going to say something, but then Stephen Hawking invited him over for tea. Stay, have some tea. I can show you the garden. Okay, so their house had a garden, his house had a garden. Grinning means smiling. Okay, smiling, that is called grinning. Smiling, but not in a very expository manner, okay, not in a very outright manner, not laughing, but grinning. Just while talking, he was just smiling and saying something that maybe he was trying to say that I have just wasted your time a lot. In a light-hearted manner, he was making a joke. But then Stephen Hawking invited him to tea, and he also invited him to see the garden, okay. The garden was as big as a park. The garden was as big as a park, but Stephen Hawking covered every inch, rumbling along in his motorized wheelchair while I dodged to keep out of the way. We couldn't talk very much. The sun made him silent, the letters on his screen disappearing in the glare. Okay, the sun made him silent. So this is also very beautiful. That means as if he was also influenced by the natural surrounding around him, and that made him, you know, immersed in the moment rather than talking, rather than concentrating on talking with his guest. He was more involved in his surroundings. An hour later, we were ready to leave. I didn't know what to do. I could not kiss him or cry. I touched his shoulder and wheeled out into the summer evening. Okay, so it was time for him to leave, but he didn't know what would be a proper greeting, how he can leave him, okay, because he cannot shake hands with him, he cannot kiss him goodbye, he cannot hug him. So he simply touched his shoulder just to show that yes, I am going to leave now, and then he wheeled out on his own. Yes, correct, motorized wheelchair. Okay, it was controlled with an electronic motor which had to be charged from time to time. So it was just a battery operated system that means the computer was also there. Why don't you check out the YouTube channel? Lots of interviews are there with Stephen Hawking. Okay, you can see it very well. You can get a better image and a better picture if you see his actual interactions with him. Okay. A movie has also been made. It's available in Amazon Prime. You can see that movie based on him. I think The Greatest Mind or something like that. Okay, based on his life. No, The Theory of Everything, I think. The movie's name is... You're not able to hear my voice. Let's see what happened. Rest of you, why didn't you tell me before? Hello? You are not able to hear my voice, students? Okay, so this is how he moved about. You can hear. So why don't you check an interview? Okay. Okay, you can hear. So maybe it's a problem, Komal, some problem might be there. Okay. Just check it. Anyway, he didn't know how to greet him properly while going, so he simply touched his shoulder and wheeled away into the summer evening. I looked back and I knew he was waving, though he wasn't. Okay, I knew he was waving, like I could imagine that in his mind he was trying to wave to me, because I thought that he was just telling me goodbye, but he couldn't move his hand. Watching him, an embodiment of my bravest self, the one I was moving towards, the one I believed in for so many years alone, I knew that my journey was over for now. The embodiment of my bravest self, that means he was like the body, he was like the image. What sound problem is occurring? He was like the living embodiment, the living image of the bravest part of me. That is, if I was the bravest, I would have been like Stephen Hawking. Okay, and for him, staying with a person like that, spending that time with him was as if an end. Hello, hello. Hello, can you hear properly? Okay, so for him, watching Stephen Hawking, okay, I actually made some adjustment. Anyway, our class time is over. I think most of you have understood it. Sometimes it's causing problem. Okay, Trijit has shared an interview, I think, of Stephen Hawking. Do check it. So he was as if the embodiment. Find out the meaning of embodiment. It means like he denoted or represented everything which Stephen Hawking represented, the bravest part of him. Something which Firdaus Kanga always wanted to become the symbol of that. He was like the living embodiment of all that. Okay. And he was also the one for whom, that means that bravest self or the bravest identity which was portrayed in Stephen Hawking, it was something which Firdaus Kanga wanted to achieve in his life as well. And the fact that he was having, okay, tomorrow you can ask me, Sneha, our class time is over, okay, remind me tomorrow again. I knew that my journey was over for now. For now, having met him, I can say that my journey towards excellence or my journey towards achieving what he had achieved, or at least having a glimpse of that, was something, yes, correct, was something which I wanted for a while, and now meeting him, getting a chance to meet such a person, to meet Stephen Hawking in person, meant the end of my journey for now. Okay, so with this the chapter ends. I'm going to discuss this chapter again in the next class, so that you can tell me whatever problems you have, and we can discuss the entire chapter once again. Thank you, students, for today's class.